Hiya, and welcome back to part 8 of the rebuild series. My car is pretty much finished with the last piece of the jigsaw being the interior trim from the guys at Intatrim in Telford. They've done a really good job, and let me show you. So in order to get the headlining in, the front and rear screens had to come out. They're back in now, thanks to my mate Andy. He come round the other day and sealed the glass up and fitted the chrome inserts front and rear. So thanks Andy for that. My mate Paul lent me his trailer, and my other mate Tim dragged my car all the way up to Telford. It's not far, it's an hour away, and we left it with them in January. Took a couple of attempts to get it there because of the snow, but we got there eventually, and then it was in their queue. And let's have a look inside. Okay, I've popped the front seats out so we can get a better look, so let's get our head in. Inside, oh god, I wish I could video in smelly vision because it smells amazing in there. Anyway, so here's the back seats, which started off as 2 planks of wood because of the 4-link boxes. Just no space for the original seats, and also the big 15-inch tubs. So Intatrim have wrapped the tubs in leather and with a French seam and the highlight stitching. So both the tubs are wrapped in leather, and then the back seats are contoured the same as the Recaros at the front. So they've copied the patterns of the bolsters for the seat base and the seat back and replicated them on the back seat. And it's really comfy actually, and I think it looks amazing. The carpets all had to be handmade because of there's big 15-inch bowls fitted in the front wells. There's the auto trans tunnel, which had to be cut and lifted 3 inches at the top to fit in the T5 gearbox for the Cosworth, and also the prop shaft tunnel, which has been raised by about 4 inches so I can run the car low without battering the prop. So all that means basically is that a standard carpet is never going to fit, and also you've got all the funky shapes going on in the floor. So what they've done, these are my over mats. So it's all rubber backed nylon with wool whipping on the edges, and there's separate panels all stitched to do a really lovely job on the carpet. I stuck with the original Ford handbrake gaiter. They did make me a leather one, but I preferred the original Ford one. I don't know why, a bit of a nod to the original. I had a billet handbrake gaiter knocked up and personalised by my good mate Russell. You might know him, Russell Lord. That's my centre console that I made. Again, off the shelf ones aren't available because of the mods to the gearbox tunnel. So I made that out of plywood and faced it in carbon fibre and wrapped it in vinyl. But the guys at Intatrim ripped it all apart and refaced it in leather with the French steam and the highlight stitching to match the rest of the trim. And the centre panel is now suede or Alcantara, and so is my gear lever gaiter. What else is on this side? Oh yeah, my parcel shelf, which is wrapped in leather with the French seam again, and it's wrapped all underneath. But on the inside, that's Alcantara, and the kick panels, which attach inside the roll cage and fill that triangle up, are all padded and in leather. Let's just take you over. Oh yeah, the headlining, clipping neck, I better not forget that. The headline is all Alcantara. It's basically it's a fake suede. Real suede isn't stretchy enough and hasn't got enough give in it in order to get the tension that I need. Alcantara basically it's just a trade name for one of the many different types of artificial suede out there, but it feels and smells amazing, and lots of trim places that I approached said we can't give you a headlining, Lee, simply because the rods that run from side to side, there's 4 rods, and they tension the headlining in a standard car won't fit because of the welding cages in the way, and I could never get the tension bars in there. So everybody was telling me all I could have is like a pad that sort of sticks to the roof, but the guys at Intatrim given me a proper tensioned Alcantara headlining that runs all the way back down the seat posts on both sides, and it's as tight as a drum, and it fits nice over the cage all over, no sagging, and it looks fantastic, and it's probably my favourite bit of the whole interior retrim, as well as the seats and the dash top and the door cards and everything else. Let's have a look on the other side. So here we are on the driver's side, and it's a really nice place to be now. I swapped my steering wheel. This is a new Momo item. Previously, this suede one, it was just like a 50-60 quid job off eBay, but I read a lot of horror stories about cheap Chinese steering wheels folding in an accident or even over humpback bridges and stuff, and I thought, oh, I don't want that to happen to me. And I was going to have to change it anyway because of the red stitching just didn't go with everything. So I bought a Momo. I was able to avoid the many fakes out there. If someone's selling you a Momo and they're only asking 70 quid for it, it's probably not genuine. But the way to tell what they actually do is if I pop this off. On the back of this spoke here is an RFID tag, and you scan it with your phone, with your smartphone, and it takes you straight to Momo's website and validates that it's a genuine steering wheel. How cool is that? But anyway, it's leather, and it matches the leather trim and the double stitching, so yeah, that looks really good. Over this side, they had to contend with the exhaust tunnel, which made the carpet trimming a bit interesting, but they've done an amazing job. And again, I've got me overmats in, which are held in by studs, so they're not going to slip, and they've embroidered a Cosworth logo in there. There's no shelf on this side because of the power steering, but there's my trim panel that infills the triangle of the cage with a little access for my bonnet release handle. You can see the door cards. The door cards are actually skinned in one whole piece of leather. That's one big piece of leather, and what they did, they started with this like standard hardboard panel, and then they've added some extra paneling on the bottom, the same size and shape as the flutes on the seats to match the seats, which is pretty cool. And then the leather is steamed over and follows the contour of the flutes, and then the speaker is sunk in. There's like a 5mm thick foam on there, and the speaker's sunk in, so it's like it's below the level of the flutes. If you have a look at this one, this side, because I didn't want the speakers to look like they've been plonked in as an afterthought. I wanted to be like integral as part of the design. So I designed all that and handed it over to Intatrim, and they turned my designs into reality. And it continues through the rear quarter cards, and above the top where the door opening handle is a suede panel with the contrast stitching, and that effectively it continues this black and chrome theme all throughout the car, all along the dash and then down the sides, and sort of mimics the Mexico stripes on the bodywork, which I really like. So here's a closer look. Yeah, so this suede panel, it feels lovely. And obviously the door handles have been wrapped in leather and with the French seam on. And that theme continues through the rear door cards, or rear quarter cards. Another look at my back seats. Really pleased with them. And the headlining especially. So I've just popped into the loft to talk about my dash top, because that was a surprisingly troublesome part of the retrim and the project. Now, since day one, I've been using this flocked fiberglass replica. It's a yuck speed item. I've had it like I say, I bought it 7 years ago, and it's been in and out and in and out. And you know, it was all right. It was definitely the look. I like the look. The fit, the quality of the fit isn't great around the clocks, you know, but I'm really quite fussy. And because it's been in and out, like, you know, it's got a bit threadbare around the edges, and the fiberglass holding the bracket has sort of give way a little bit there. But one of the shitty things about it is that the two screws that go up and secure the 6-dial dash pod screw into blocks of wood that are fiberglassed in. And you know what it's like with a thread, once it's gone in and out and in and out a few times, like it's a bit bollocks really. So that was going to be replaced, so I got myself a mint genuine 6-dial dash top. Well, it was fairly mint. It had a couple of minor splits on it, and what I'd always wanted to do from the start is to replace the original Escort vents. They're 50 years old, bits of plastic, and they're crumbly and they work fine, but they're just not the look I was after. And I really wanted to continue that whole, like, the black and chrome theme that I've got going on in the car. So I sourced these. These are Ford. They're actually out of a Mondeo, but they're used in lots of other Fords as well. And whilst the outside is clipped and stays in the dash of the Mondeo, the inside rotates on a ratchet, and it's a really nice action. And it's just got that little chrome detail that matches the clocks, basically, the round chrome and the black. The problem is it falls straight through the hole. So I approached a flocking company and said, look, I've got this Mk1 dash. I want you to repair the cracks, flock it in jet black, and make these Mondeo vents fit it because the holes are too big. No problem, Lee, we can do that. Send it up. So I sent it up. I said it'd take 3 weeks. It took 6 weeks. I got a phone call on the 6th week saying, we've done your dash. We couldn't make the vents fit. We tried everything and we couldn't get it to work, but we flocked it anyway, and here's the bill. Oh, fucking great. Thanks very much. So I was back to square one. I could have used the original vents. They've done a lovely job of the flocking and the repairs, you would never guess. And it's a proper 6-dial metal dash with all the proper brackets and clips, and all the tangs are in place. It's not rusty. So I'm probably going to be selling that one. Like I say, I paid quite a lot for it anyway, and then I paid a lot for it to get it flocked. But it is a lovely piece. But, you know, you can only use the standard vents with it. So I had a dilemma. I liked it, but I didn't want to use it because I really wanted to use these vents, just to lift the inside of the car a bit, and just everything else was going pretty premium, and I just wanted to try and match it. So that's when I spoke to Intatrim. So I went up to Telford to see the guys at Intatrim, tell them of the look I was trying to achieve, and the materials I wanted to use, and how I wanted to look in general. And then we got onto the subject of the dash top. I told them my tale of woe that I'd had before, and they were confident that they could sort it out for me. So off I went to source yet another 6-dial genuine Ford dash top, and they're all going to be cracked. We know that, you know what I mean? They are 50 years old, but trying to find one with the mounting studs intact and the tabs intact and not rotten and not bent out of shape proved to be quite difficult. Anyway, I got one, and I took it up there, and my word, what a job they've done. So to get the vents in, which was the major part for me, they actually cut out a section of the original rock hard foam and inserted some really thick high density foam, and then carved it to shape so it fits the new vents absolutely perfectly. And they, without the whole thing rotating, they direct the air where I want it to go, and they look a lot better. And the whole, you know, black and chrome thing matches the clocks and the dash trim and the dash pod, and I'm really happy. So this has been wrapped in Alcantara, the whole thing, and they've kept the seam around the binnacle with black stitches to make it like sort of invisible. But they put a French seam along the front with the contrast colour stitching, which is actually the same colour as the car. It's like a silvery grey colour. It's not too blingy, so it doesn't look like a footballer's fucking Range Rover, but it just looks, well, classy really. And then that's continued over the lip of the binnacle. Let's pop over there and have a better look-see. Yeah. So being a genuine dash top, the clocks fit it perfectly. There's no gaps, and you can see the French seam running around the edge, and it looks and it feels, oh, lovely. Really luxurious, and it's not going to wear and go threadbare on the edges like flocking would. So yeah, the clocks, I made the clock pod, so the clock's a reproduction clock pod. I bought a brand new one just because I wanted this chrome trim around the outside, and then I ground off all the old bezels for the individual clocks and the 4 little clocks over here until it was flat, and inserted this carbon fibre trim. It's real carbon fibre, it's not the fake sticky back shit. And I used the same trim to cover the fake wood that was originally on this panel, and again for the clocks for my auxiliary gauges. The gauges are from Speed Hut in the USA, and they will custom make them to your design, and you can pick the bezel, and you can pick the font, and you can pick the RPMs. You can pick pretty much everything. Like the amount of customizable options that they do is great. I've seen the 4 52mm gauges. That's the standard size of an auxiliary gauge, just like those down there, squeezed into a standard one, but it just didn't look right. And I thought, well, if it can't look right, it's got to look different. So I've gone for 3 clocks, really reminiscent of a Mk1 Cortina dash, to be honest. They had 3 clocks like this, tacho in the middle, speedo over there, and I've got my fuel level and fuel pressure, and then volts and water temp. I also used, when I did my power steering conversion, I used a Corsa B power steering motor, and the top half of the column is Mark II Escort. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to try and get rid of as many of those Mark I Escort style rocker switches that cost a fortune, and there's just better things available. So by using Mark II, I've got extra stalks, and I can get rid of those switches effectively and keep it quite clutter free where I wanted it. I didn't want any across there, so I had to use Mark II Escort upper and lower steering column cowl, and also the ashtray panel, which I converted with a piece of billet aluminium with a carbon inlay to take some more auxiliary gauges. So I've got boosts, tick-tock clock, oil pressure and oil temperature gauges there. And this is our heated front screen, heated rear screen. That's my 3-position switch from a wiper motor, and then spots and fogs. So yeah, that's it. Oh, you might be looking at that and wondering, well, that looks a bit out of place. And yes, it does. I could have fitted a leather covered gear knob, but that is a very special gear knob. It's special to me. It's actually the gear knob from my very first car, and it was given to me by my late father. So that knob's staying. I don't care what anybody says. Back when I was 17 in 1986, my very first car was a Mk1 Cortina GT. I always lusted after a Lotus. I couldn't afford one. look, I had to save up for months and months to buy this Mk1 Cortina, which was a classic car then, back in '86. It was a 64 B Reg, and I fitted Lotus Cortina quarter bumpers and Lotus Cortina wide steel wheels, and I had a motor litre wooden Lotus steering wheel on it, and Dad got me this wooden Lotus gear knob, and I found it during the restoration of this Escort at the back of the cupboard. I forgot I'd kept it all these years, since I was 17, and I'm 56 now. So, you know, I've had it a long time, and there was only one gear knob I could fit into this car, and there it is. It doesn't match. I don't care. I love it. So it's a bit easier to show you the front seats while they're out of the car. They're from 1990 Series 2 RS Turbo Recaros. Obviously, they were cloth. They've been recovered in black leather. The French seams have been double stitched in the contrasting thread, I suppose you call it. All the flutes sort of mimic the original Escort seats from the 70s. Still got the adjustable knee support at the front, all trimmed in leather. All new foams. Now there should be a Recaro badge there, and there was on the old seats, but they're plastic and from the 90s, and it was knackered basically. So I asked Intatrim to embroider the Recaro logo into the seat, which they did in the same silver grey thread, and it looked good, but it wasn't what I wanted at the end of the day. So I've been trying to source some Recaro badges. They're a fortune second hand, and they're all brittle and fragile and knackered, but I've managed to find a guy in Germany who does them out of aluminium. So they're on order, and when they come, Intatrim are going to come down to my house and they're going to fit them for me. So that's pretty cool. They're pretty much exactly as the RS Turbo seats would have been, obviously retrimmed, but they've reshaped the headrest for me and reprofiled the sides. That's in Alcantara, so it misses the roll cage. They've wrapped the plastic pieces in leather, which is a nice touch. Well, there's lots of nice touches from Intatrim all over really. And even the knob, the adjuster knob for the backrest, is wrapped in leather. And something else I asked them for, which you don't usually see on these, is a back pocket. Because there's nowhere to store my knickknacks. So they've created a back pocket, which is all lined in Alcantara, and it's bloody lovely. So it's just enough for my sunglasses and my bits and bobs. All full leather, front and back. And they look wicked. Really nice job, and like I say, mimic the original seats of the 70s. The flutes, everything matches the back seats. Let's pop them back in. So with the seats back in the car, you can see when the seats are right back, they've profiled the headrests to clear the cage. The headrests were a mission on their own. Originally, the posts are just like zinc plated. They're like a horrible grey colour, and they were all scratched and rusty. And when they stripped them down, the whole support panel was rusty, which apparently is from sweaty heads, which is a bit gross. So I took them off them while I was trimming the rest of the car, and had the support frame powder coated black, and I stripped and polished these, and then had them chrome plated, and I think they look really smart. They look way better than that horrible zinc plate, and they certainly look better than rusty posts, and it just ties in with the whole black and chrome theme of the car. You can see a bit better here with the front and back seats together. How the back seats mimic the fronts, how they've done the bolsters. Intatrim have just done a superb job. So I'd definitely recommend them. Up in Telford, they really look after your car. It was covered at all times, apart from when they were working on it. It's really secure. There's a massive steel gate on it. There's CCTV cameras. They've got 24-hour security patrolling the site. And so many locks and bolts like you wouldn't believe it. So I knew my car was definitely safe there. And they deal with high-end cars. There's a Mercedes Gullwing in there while mine was being done. And an Alfa Romeo Giulia GT as well, so that, you know, they don't piss about with cheap cars. So yeah, there you go. That is pretty much it. There's one final piece to the interior trim, and it's going to go there, and I'll cover that in another video. So a couple of additions to the interior. Oh, this one's a replacement. This is my bias brake knob to adjust the brake bias front to rear. Now I'm using a bias brake pedal box from Gartrack. Really good quality, if not the best out there. And it has the cylinders arranged: clutch master cylinder, front brake master cylinder, rear brake master cylinder, and all the balance bar is exactly as Gartrack supplied it. The knob I got from Group 4 Fabrications over in Ireland, but the writing was the wrong way around, so it had rear going this way, front going that way when I tried to adjust it. So I sent the knob off to Dave at XYZ Fabrications, and he's done a superb job. He's machined out the old writing and then inserted some real carbon fibre and engraved onto that. But now the writing's the right way around, and he's done a lovely job. You wouldn't know it didn't come like that. And the good thing is, it looks way better than the yellow writing that was originally on there from Group 4 Fabrications. And it matches the carbon detail on the rest. Oh yeah, I've also fitted some fire safety sticks. So that one's under the passenger side parcel shelf, and I've got one here, just clipped to the roll cage. These are 50-second fire sticks, okay, and it will discharge for 50 seconds. Now, if you compare that to a conventional extinguisher, there's a 1 kilo one over there on the wall. A 1 or 2 kilo fire extinguisher will last for 7 seconds. So this lasts more than 5 times long than that. And the good thing is there's no, you know, powder and mess and everything else, and they don't need any servicing, unlike those things. So if you've had one of those in your cars for 4 or 5 years and you haven't touched it, would you really rely on it when you're in the shit? I'd rather have a couple of these. They're smaller, lighter, and last 5 times as long and don't need any maintenance. And I just clip in, bosh. Okay, so that pretty much covers the interior. The like I keep on saying, the guys at Intatrim did a really good job. I had like the concept. I knew what I wanted. I wanted those RS Turbo Recaros. I like that shape of seat. I think they suit a Mk1 much better than a set of fishnets. With the blocky headrest, I think it looks good and sort of harks back to the original. And also by having the flutes the same width and the same pattern to match the original vinyl in the 70s Escort seats, and having that carried through to the back seats, and then again on the same flutes on the door cards. I sort of drew it all out for the guys, and they just turned my ideas into reality, and they did it like fantastically well, like really good quality. That it just goes to show you get what you pay for, and it was worth all their months of saving up so I could afford it, basically. A lot more reasonable than you'd think. Certainly like the whole car has cost me a lot less than what I'd have to go out and pay for an MST car at 130 grand for a basic model. So yeah, I'm really happy. All that's left now is to go and drive the thing. I have been out in it. I drove it back from Telford. I picked it up. Great thing. There was no problems. It was the first time I'd actually driven the car for any decent length. It was a good hour and a half drive through country lanes and A roads and B roads. I had no leaks. Nothing fell off it. It didn't overheat. Didn't run out of petrol. Everything worked. All the switches and all the lights and all the gauges worked. So that was a real win. It's always a bit of a worry after a 7-year build from scratch, just from a bare shell, doing all the fabrication and everything, all the modifications I've done to the car. It's never going to be a car for the purist or for the rivet counters, but I never built it to appeal to them or to anybody else. I built it for me, and for me, it's my ideal car, and I'm really happy with it. I have done the first oil change, just dropped the oil and filter as a precaution after 100 miles. Put fresh oil and filter in it, and I'll continue to run it in till I get to about the 1,000-mile mark, and then hopefully by then it'll be time to take it off of the dyno to get the ECU set up by Autodynamics in Newton Abbot. There's a few bugs and snags to sort out, like there's going to be on any kind of build like this. One of the first things I found was it was too low. It looked as cool as fuck, but it was just too low. Every little speed bump and every dip in the road, I had the back axle banging into the floor. It was just too low, and the prop was whacking a bracket underneath for the handbrake cable. So I've lifted it up a bit, just by about 30 mil from where it was. It's still about 3 inches lower than a standard Escort, which is quite a lot, but I've seemed to have got away with it, and after driving it around, it's pretty cool. I'm just driving it sort of off boost, so below about 3,000 revs at the moment, giving it a little bit of a tickle now and again, and it certainly picks up its skirt and fucks off. So I'm going to be interested to see what it's going to be like when I can give it a rev, but I think it's going to be a bit salty. But for the time being, drive it sensible. I'm really enjoying driving it. I will try and get some video together of me driving it and post it up. But my main priority is to run that engine in properly. I'm looking after it with the revs and not putting it under too much load and everything else. I want everything to bed in nicely. A lot of attention's gone into that engine, and I want it to last. I want it to last a long time. So I just want to concentrate on getting the miles on it and enjoying the car as much as I can. That's about it. Thanks ever so much for watching. I really appreciate your thumbs up and your comments. It means a lot, and I read all of them. So let us know what you think. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.